All right, so today we're going to crack open a piece of correspondence that's almost 2,000 years old. It's this short, personal letter called 3 John. But here's the thing. We're going to look at it as something totally different. A surprisingly sharp and, honestly, super relevant piece of management advice. It's all about good colleagues, bad bosses, and organizational drama. Let's see what it's got for us.
Because that's really the question, isn't it? We've all been there. We've all had to deal with tricky leadership dynamics. So what on earth can a letter this old tell us about the power struggles and personality clashes we see in the workplace today? Well, you might be surprised. Turns out, a whole lot.
So let's set the scene. For a minute, forget that this is ancient scripture and picture it as an urgent internal memo. The sender is a senior leader, a bigwig, who just goes by the elder. Think of him as the guy writing from headquarters. The recipient, a trusted manager out in the field, a guy named Gaius. And there's a problem brewing in the organization that needs to be handled.
Now, to really get what's going on, you have to understand their business model. The early church basically had two key parts. You had your settled communities, which were kind of like stable branch offices. And then you had these traveling missionaries. Think of them as your field reps, your evangelists on the road. These travelers were the lifeblood of the whole expansion, but they completely depended on the local branches for everything. Food, a place to stay, you name it. The two groups needed each other to survive. The letter kicks off by putting the spotlight on our hero, Gaius. The elder has been hearing reports about him from the field, and the news is fantastic. Gaius is being held up as the gold standard, the model employee everyone should be trying to be like.
The big compliment the elder pays him is for walking in the truth. Now, in today's corporate jargon, that just means he's sticking to the company's core values. He's on mission. He gets the big picture, and everything he does is aligned with that vision. He's a total team player.
And here's where the elder says something really powerful. He says that by welcoming and supporting those traveling missionaries, Gaius isn't just being a nice guy, he's actively becoming a co-worker with the truth. This elevates his role from just being a host to being a crucial partner in the entire mission. I mean, think about that idea. The people who enable the frontline work are just as vital as the frontline workers themselves. That's some great management insight right there.
But then, the tone of the letter just completely flips. We get introduced to the villain of the story, a guy named Diotrephes. He's another one of the local leaders, but his behavior is the polar opposite of Gaius's, and he's causing a major headache for everyone.
And this lays out the contrast perfectly. It's night and day. Where Gaius lives by the mission, Diotrephes only puts himself first. While Gaius is welcoming, Diotrephes slams the door in the missionaries' faces. And while Gaius is a partner, Diotrephes is actively undermining the elder's authority from HQ. It's a classic case of the model employee versus the rogue manager.
So the really crucial thing to get here is that this isn't just about two guys who don't get along. Nope. This is a direct challenge to the entire organization. It's a power struggle between corporate leadership and a local manager who's decided he's going to do things his own way.
The elder breaks down the case against Diotrephes with 4 specific charges. First, he's ignoring memos from the top and just doing what he wants. Second, he's playing off his politics, spreading nasty rumors about senior leadership. Third, he's actively sabotaging the mission by cutting off support for the guys in the field. And finally, he's creating a toxic work environment, kicking anyone off his team who dares to defy it.
And this whole mess, this isn't just some dusty old church problem. What we're seeing here is a pattern, a timeless conflict that has played out in organizations for centuries. It's a fundamental tension that I bet a lot of us can recognize.
The source material puts it perfectly. It calls this a tension between the universal and the local. You could just as easily say it's the tension between corporate HQ and the regional branch, right? Or between a national strategy and local control. It is that classic struggle over who's really in charge.
So, faced with this rebellion, the elder doesn't just fire off an angry email. He uses it as a teaching moment. He lays out a really clear choice for Gaius and really for everyone else in the organization. And to make the choice even clearer, he brings in a third character, a guy named Demetrius. We don't learn a whole lot about him, but he's held up as the positive role model. If Gaius is the one getting praised, Demetrius is the one everyone is told to be like. He's the walking, talking example of good leadership. And the instruction he gives is just so simple, it's brilliant. Imitate what is good, which is what Demetrius is doing. Do not imitate what is evil, which is clearly what Diotrephes is up to. The message couldn't be more direct. Look at these two guys, look at their leadership styles, now you choose which path you're going to follow.
So as this short but really potent memo wraps up, it leaves us with some surprisingly modern and powerful lessons on leadership and how to keep an organization healthy. Let's break down those final takeaways.
First, purpose always wins over popularity. The elder makes it clear that being faithful to the mission is way more important than just having big numbers. It's about quality, not just quantity. Second, you have to deal with problems directly and you have to do it fast. Don't let toxic behavior just fester, no matter how small your team is. And finally, value personal relationships. The letter ends with this little request to greet friends by name, which is such a human touch. It reminds us that real connection is at the heart of any successful group.
And all of this leaves us with one big final question. This 2,000-year-old conflict forces us to ask something that is just as relevant in our own companies and teams today. When push comes to shove, who gets the final say? The central founding vision of the organization? Or the ambitious local leader who thinks they can do it better on their own? It's a tension that can define the health and maybe even the fate of any mission we share.